Hey everyone, so I'm Tesla Herbert, and today we are incredibly lucky, very, very fortunate that we have Kristen with us on the Zoom call with us. I think we all know that she is got a Twitter handle called K10. And for many of us, we found her or Tesla Joy or Omar. They're usually the first people that most of us have found when we discovered Tesla. And I think Kristen, you're coming up to 100,000 followers, aren't you?
That's crazy. Yeah, I think so. It's like, yeah,
Well,
more followers every day.
welcome. Thank you so much for doing this with me. But so as I was thinking about your role as part of this Tesla community, and I'm really struck by you're such a very well-rounded. You're super smart, and
Oh,
you're
thank you.
very quite an expert in a number of topics. And one that I discovered is you're the expert in batteries for me. But yet you're also very positive, you're friendly, you care so much about this community and the people and humanity in general. So it was actually hard for me to come up with a very apt description of how to describe you as my introduction. And so what I did was I went and looked back at the past interviews of you and saw how
Yeah.
they did it. So here's a little bit of memory lane for you, I think. So Dave Lee,
Oh, nice.
he called you a Tesla activist. Okay.
Yeah.
The Tesla Geek Show, they introduce you as the Tesla Princess.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I know. Warren, he didn't really introduce you at all. I think he just assumed that we all know you and that we got introduced to you through the Tesla Third Rope group, podcast group. And then Sean Mitchell, he just called you his dear friend.
Oh, yeah, that was super sweet. Yeah.
So, welcome, Kristen. Thank you for doing this. And so, my first question to you is how do you think we should introduce you?
Oh, thank you, Herbert, for having me on it. Like I'm honored, like you consider me. Geez, that's always such a hard question.
Yeah, you're
uh,
everything.
just a caring Tesla community member. I mean, it sounds so funny. Here we are around this company and like we care, but we do.
Mm.
Um, K10 Kristen Tesla. I don't know. I'm
Okay, well,
there. People asked how I got here. It wasn't. It just kind of happened. It wasn't like this planned thing.
yeah.
So
Okay,
thank
well, we're
you.
going to go, that was a cop out generic answer. We're going to dig
Yeah.
deeper. We're going to open up your soul. We're going to find out some
Okay.
good answers. So, yeah, let's start with, if you don't mind sharing your story. Where are you from originally? Where did you grow up? What was
Yeah.
6-year-old Kristen like?
Oh boy. Yeah, these are good questions. So I grew up in the Rockies
Mm.
areas in Utah. I don't share a whole lot of that with everybody just because there's some
Mhm.
weirdos out there. Um, and what was it like growing up there? Well, I mean, so it is so generic. Weather-wise, I loved it. I love the
Yeah.
snow in the full 4 seasons. I mean, we all have a different our different family of origin and the different dynamics for us. And I grew up with an older sibling, some younger siblings.
Mm.
I was a kid, very inquisitive.
Mhm.
6-year-old Kristen, very inquisitive. Uh, I'm trying to think what grade, like first
Yeah, I
kindergarten.
saw today you tweeted out all the books that you read when you were a kid, and I'm like, ooh, well, those are pretty good books.
Yeah, I mean, I loved reading. I grew up in a community. People were really nice, but it wasn't a community exactly where I fit in. So I think
Mm,
I spent a lot of time doing weird things like
mm.
jumping off walls or reading the encyclopedias in my dad's basement because I
Mhm.
wanted to know things. Um, but at 6, I think I was doing artwork. I loved doing artwork and I loved playing outside.
Yeah.
I think what 6-year-old didn't want to see who could run faster. So
So you sound like you're quite well-rounded, but I also heard that you've said before that you have a great interest in chemistry. Is that something you
yeah.
studied, or is just something that you were interested in and you did outside of school?
No, I studied chemistry and I was doing some classes right around when right before COVID hit and I
What?
just had
Even just now, you took classes.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
because I went back to school. I love the medical community, but I love the research aspect, but I don't want to play the game where you're like into research and it takes you forever just to get to your tenor and then like whatever. I would rather do something like open up and have the people maybe work at a company. But no, I love chemistry. I love the periodic
Yeah.
table. I love the way it all plays together and it just explains life. Biochemistry, chemistry, and the
So
way
you're actually studying it, like you actually went to university or YouTube and things like that, just a generic interest in this?
oh yeah, I was taking
Yeah.
classes. I took my
Yeah.
Yeah, I took my national test and I did really well. Like I don't know, like it's just something I love. Like and there's too many things I love. That's the problem with my brain. Like I like one too many things and I have to commit. I see the forest and I don't see the trees. I'm like, ooh, and this one, ooh, and this one. So yeah, I was studying it and I mean it would be good to go forward. I just want to make sure that I stick with what I do
Yeah.
because I like a lot of things. So yeah.
I was going to ask you, but I think I know the answer. Do you consider yourself a nerd? And what ways have you
Yeah,
nerded out? It sounds like you're a nerd.
I think so. I'm one of those people when I find a topic, I think that's what nerds do. They
Yeah.
dive into it and they forget about the world. They forget about, and then they come out as if they had been deep diving and they're telling everyone around them, look what I learned. And people are
Yeah.
like, oh, so yeah, that definitely is whatever topics I'm involved in. I do that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The last 10 years, I've been diving deep into physics, astrophysics, quantum mechanics,
Wow.
you know, time,
Wow.
multiple
Yeah.
realities. Yeah, as you get older, you want to find this information out and you dig deep and you really study
Yeah.
it. So I've been doing that myself. But so what other topics have you dove into in the last 5, 10 years? Yeah.
Maybe 5, 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm a huge health nut. Um,
Mm, me
that's a
too.
big one for
Me
me.
too. Yeah.
I mean, I think I've said it before. My dad had a heart attack when I was like 17-year-old. I was 17 and
Oh,
he had it in front of me.
yeah.
There was
Oh
no
my
one else
gosh.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it just rocked my world at that age.
Hmm.
The doctor came out of the ER. He made it, but he
Hmm.
looked at us all and he's like, "Yeah, you all need to go vegetarian. It's
Is that
bad."
right?
And we're like,
Are
"Oh,
you
okay."
vegetarian now then?
So I went vegetarian for a year. I was like running track and I'm like, I'm so hungry. Like it's really because a vegetarian diet has to be extremely well planned or you're just eating tons of carbs. So
Right.
lots
Yeah.
of spaghetti. So yeah, I did that and studied a lot of that's when I started studying on my own, like things like the free radicals and
Mm.
antioxidants and all those things back when I was 17 and 18 in high school. But big health nut, just I would take books that broke down like the mineral compositions of the body and what you need and stuff like that. So other things I love, I've always liked rocks and I've always liked art. That
You
sounds
like
so
rocks?
funny. When I was 6-year-old Kristen might be caught standing in a field for hours looking at rocks.
Is that
Like,
right? Like, so you know
yeah.
all the kinds of rocks. You'd be perfect to go to Mars then, maybe. Are you interested in doing
Uh,
that?
well, it sounds really cool. I mean, if it goes really, I mean,
Yeah.
if I was like terminally ill and they need somebody, I'm like, look, I'm gonna die, so they
Yeah.
can use me. I've got enough. Maybe I
You'll
wouldn't if,
go. Yeah.
yeah, and if Mars turns out fine, I wouldn't mind going. But yeah, I
There's
know.
lots of rocks there.
Yeah, yeah. And my grandpa was a geologist, so like I think that's we used to go rock hounding. We used to go look at fossil
Wow.
beds. So
Okay.
yeah,
And I heard, I think you've also mentioned your dad was an aerospace engineer.
my dad was in aerospace. My grandpa was a vice president of an aerospace company, and that wasn't even his dad. That was my mother's father.
Okay.
And then and she worked there as well. Yep. And then my dad's not there anymore. He works for the railroad now. That's what he
Okay.
loves doing. He's went from like the Coast Guard to aerospace to the railroad. It's like ships, planes, and like what is aerospace nuclear warheads?
Sounds like yeah, a
The
little bit of a
warheads.
pattern here in your family, history.
Yeah, I
Did you
think it's
ever
so funny.
follow up with your history? Because I think you said that you're from, I don't know, I can't remember now, Slavic or something. What's
Yeah,
your,
I mean, I've done my genealogy. A lot
yeah,
of my family members have done their genealogy. We've done our genealogy really far back. So,
yeah.
yep, I've got a lot of European in me.
I remember so last week when we were doing a Twitter space, I was teasing you quite a bit because you just love SpaceX so much, and I'm
Yeah.
a Tesla true and true, and I'm like, no, everybody on the call was SpaceX.
Yes.
What got you into that? Is it now obviously your dad was aerospace, but it sounds like earlier in life, were you already dreaming about this too? And then Tesla
Well,
came, or got nothing to do with that?
yeah, the funny thing, it's funny, the Musks are like involved in things my family often is because my mom was a master gardener too. Just like how weird. So even when we interviewed Kimball, I'm like, with the health and the gardening, I'm like, oh yeah, I know this. But where I grew up, everybody's dad worked in aerospace. You kind of thought, oh yeah, my dad works there too. So or mom too.
Yeah.
But no, I just think Elon lays out plans and he lays out things that are so different. Like I think when I was in high school, I used to think about ways of like taking garbage and making it into a roadway or using magnets, like the maglev things. But I'm like, can we do that with cars? Like, and how can we make cars run off maybe something different?
Yeah.
And my chemistry teachers would be like, Kristen, you need to like break this down and explain. I don't know. So when I heard Elon doing it, like, and when I saw he was doing this other thing, I'm like, wow, like he is
Yeah.
right. We haven't been back to the moon, and how
Mhm.
ridiculous! Like, so I think he just invigorated everybody because he's covering a lot of ground and
Yeah.
actually gaining really good momentum. So it's very encouraging to see. So
What was that first thing that you discovered about Elon or Tesla that just made you blow your mind and go, this is something I'm very interested in?
yeah, so I'd seen the cars and you hear a little bit here and there, and I was just too busy in my own life to like be
Yeah.
involved. But like I was going through just a moment and I think I was at a coffee shop and like I read papers. Like I loved reading. I still read them sometimes. I'm like just sit down. But I was reading a cover on Maye Musk and it was like, I don't
Oh,
remember what it was about. And then I was reading it and then it showed Elon and it was talking about he did it. I was like, wow. And I was reading up on SpaceX. I mean, I loved the car part, but I was reading on SpaceX and how he's going to go to Mars, and I was like, "Whoa!" And so, like, I
okay.
went home and just watched tons of videos on his plan for Mars, and I'm like, "This is pretty cool. This is pretty amazing." So, yeah,
So it's interesting. So it was May 1st and then it was SpaceX. Okay. That's very cool.
yeah,
Yeah. I was struck. So I've been a big fan for environmental reasons, and I was investing in
mhm.
a bus that was battery operated. I lost a ton of money in that. This is a decade before I discovered Tesla.
Yeah,
Then when I heard about Elon and Tesla, and when he described the car, this is the Roadster 2010.
wow,
I think I started investing in the company in 2012.
that's
But
great.
when I first heard about it, what blew my mind was when I understood how the car works. That there
Hmm.
is no engine, and therefore it's safer because there's a crumple zone. The
Right?
engine is like a size of a shoe box, so there's no parts, there's no service, and then just on and on and on. It was like, boom! My God, this makes sense.
Yeah, I use a motor. Just do them. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
So for you, it was Maye Musk first, right? So you've always had a. It seems like you have a special relationship with her. There was this. You guys. She likes to tweet back to you, or you guys communicate. So you know her well, and you do
Well,
that.
I just I mean, I do adore May. Who doesn't
Yes, you
like May
do.
Musk? She's not hard to like. Uh, I just supported her. I think through 2018, a lot of us just kind of were all in against the FUD, and May was there.
Yeah,
She's like
she was there.
she had hashtags.
2018.
Mm-hmm. Like make let's clean energy will win, and we were doing the hashtags with her, and May was
Really?
fighting the FUD too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this because
Yeah.
May's 70 years old, right?
Mhm. She's 74.
She's 74, and she was tweeting. She does Twitter.
Yep.
What
Yep.
years?
I mean, she's right there with it. Yep, she was tweeting, some of the stuff because the articles would come out with this absolute untruths, the
Yes.
things that they were stating, and May is like, "That's not true," and so there's just so much fun, and you're fighting it left and left and right. May would tweet it, and we'd retweet her, and then it was just kind of like we were all there together encouraging each other, and,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, she wished me happy birthday one year. She tweeted out happy birthday to me, and I thought it was so sweet. I mean, she's an incredibly busy woman. I think we were tweeting, "You should do a book," and she's
Yeah.
probably been thinking it for years on her own, but she finally did that. A woman makes a plan, and
Wait.
we were
You're
all
the
so
one that told her
happy.
she should do a book?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't know if it was me, no, but we would tweet it. We're like, "We wanna know," but
Yeah.
I'm sure she's been thinking about it for years. I mean, because a lot of people have that mulling, and everybody wants to know what does the mother of Elon Musk have to say? Like, what was your life like? So that was really good. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I think I saw a tweet, and I don't know if you did it. I think you might have. So did you? Were you the one that tweeted where you showed Elon holding a rocket and then Baby X holding the rocket, a bigger rocket? Is that you that created that, or you
I
just forwarded that?
don't
You
I
forwarded
don't
that.
know. I
Okay.
might have made something like that in the past. Not recently have
Okay.
I
But I thought
tweeted that one.
you forwarded that, and then you said something about something about that. And then May replied, going, this is how X is so smart. He does his counting, but he does it backwards. 10, 9, 8.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was Elon saying that of all his kids, baby X is most taken with rockets, and maybe he'll go into, like, aerospace or something, and
Yeah.
May's like, he counts backwards for the rocket launches. I know, it's so cool. And I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, what 2-year-old isn't, like,
Smart.
interested in a rocket? Like,
Yeah.
he must have never been around children." I'm thinking he's raised 5 boys that are
Yeah.
almost, they're pushing
5
towards, like,
boys. Is that right?
yeah,
Okay.
late teenagers, maybe heading into their 20s at some point very
Yeah.
soon, so
It's pretty cool, Kristen, that you're talking on a regular basis to Elon, the most amazing person that we've seen in a while, richest man on earth now, and then also
yeah.
May as well. So you are like, I'm 1 degree away.
Yeah. It's I mean, they're good people. That's the thing
They
is they're
are.
not these, like, they're
Yeah.
not full of themselves. They're so down to earth, and they're just
I
trying to do
wanna I wanna
good,
ask
so
you more questions about that and then how you got
yeah.
into the FUD, but let's come back to
Okay.
just a little bit of a backdrop because I'm trying to figure out who you are and your like what goes in your mind and what you've studied in the past. So
Yeah.
one of the tweets I saw that you did last Monday was where you said you're asking people why they think Rome fell.
Yes.
What were you thinking? So what were you thinking and what were you on? And what made you tweet that? It's like it's very cool concept, very deep thought. You
Yeah.
must have studied it back then, or just are you just recently interested in this, or what's
No,
going
I
on?
was studying to be a history major too. Like, I love history.
Yeah.
My history teachers were my favorite in high school.
Huh.
I absolutely loved learning. I think I have a theory where most of the kids that were in history class didn't like it in high school, didn't pay attention. A lot of them
Yeah.
goofed off, and I'm not even sure if that graphic has changed. Even as adults, everyone wants to weigh in what they think, and I'm like, "But did you pay attention in history, and
Mm.
are you re-educating yourself now?" So,
Mhm, mhm,
but so I ask the questions even though I know what I think, but I'm
mhm,
really curious. I've
mhm,
got a big following. What are you guys thinking? Like, why do you think
mhm,
in a day of what they say is like postmodernism, why do you think it fell? And there's a lot
mhm,
of different answers, but
mhm.
we're living in quite a I mean, we live in a time where we have free speech, but there's a lot of different reasons why people are kind of like, I don't know, like things are going in a million different directions. Like, are we on the same page, and how much can we continue in a direction if we're not on the same page? So I was kind of correlating it to Rome. There's a lot of different things, and I'm like,
What
you know,
what's your reason? Why do you
why
think
Rome
Rome fell?
fell?
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Rome got so big. I think it was trying to take on a
Mhm,
lot, and it was
mhm,
really hard to like guide all the providences. A lot of people
mhm,
say, or the provinces, people, a lot of people say, I mean, so people are like, it's Christianity or it's like this, and I'm
mhm,
like, I think it's a lot of factors.
mhm,
I think there was a lot of control, and then there was not a lot of like the people lost their ability, like reading and writing and things that help people have self-autonomy, like, I don't know. I think it was just too much. You bit off way too much than they could chew, you know, and so and Rome was at a high period of lavishness too, where they were enjoying all they had, so
mhm.
what is that saying that they say, like, good times make or hard
Yes.
times make good men,
Yeah.
like good men or easy men or I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about,
Hard to, yeah.
so,
Yeah.
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 So what is
I
your
thought
what
it
is your
was
take?
I thought it had something to do exactly what you said, which is
Yeah,
they conquered too much, they spread too far, and then they
yeah.
start taxing everybody, and then
Mhm.
that sort of that's how it always ends up.
Yeah, it'd be kinda it's like yeah, it's just too bloated. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like what we're seeing in Washington, DC with
That's what I was
politicians.
gonna
They're
ask.
like,
Is that why it
"More
was in your
money."
mind? Are you warning about what's happening to our society now, or are you just it was just a random thought?
That's no, I think about these things. I mean, when I was back in college, I would sit with my history professors at lunchtime, and we were talking about China then, and they're like, "I don't think China's gonna be a world power," and I'm like, "I don't know, we're taking all our manufacturing over there." I'm like, "I think it's a sleeping dragon. I think it will
Yes.
be," and it is. I
Yeah.
mean, who knows what after all this is gonna happen, like, people are
Yeah.
like, "Well, it's overtaking
Yeah.
the US right now," and I'm like, "But we kinda
Yes.
threw in the pandemic, and we're taking manufacturing back a little bit, so we'll have to see how that all
Interesting.
works."
But yeah, so just a few days ago, Elon was at that All In Summit, and he
Yeah.
was warning about China becoming in our lifetime will be 5 times our economy.
Yeah.
We need to be more competitive.
Yeah. I mean, look at they're joking around about China can put in their, bullet trains and everything
Yeah,
immediately. I mean,
yeah.
of course, they don't have the human rights and the different laws that we have encasing ourselves, but what was the joke? San Francisco takes, like, 20 years just to put in a
Mm.
street line down.
Hmm.
They can't even get it to pass to put in, like, a
Yeah,
little trolley car in a certain area or something.
yeah,
So, it is really
yeah.
scary and sad.
It
I
is. It
mean
is very scary. I think that Elon is very frustrated, right? He rightly so with the. I mean,
yeah,
he has now dealt with many countries, and he knows how their policies and their
yeah.
red tape and bureaucracy, and he's just warning that specifically California, but I'm sure America as well with the
Mhm,
immigration. Um,
mhm.
yeah, and then China, like you said, will do what they need to do, and they are going to be five times. I think what people don't remember is that they have five times the population.
So fascinating.
It
Who
is
will
very
be
fun.
there? Who will be there? I mean, what was it back we used to have Taiwan, and then we had Japan, and now we have China. Who will be their manufacturing work at a lower cost, for economies of scale, so,
But
yeah.
this is interesting with the robots.
Oh,
So,
true. I
right?
mean, that's really
Yeah.
wise of Elon, yep.
Elon creates robots and he'll take over manufacturing. They'll be cheaper than China. So, this
Mm,
is why it's astounding that the US government is not absolutely all over trying to help
yeah,
Elon and his companies, instead, giving him trouble and putting
right.
obstacles on his way. But, anyways, this is getting to
No, I
politics
love
and
this
stuff.
thinking. This is true. If only everybody else would get with it. Because what did Elon say? He ran around he went to every governor in the 50 states to warn
Yeah.
them about the coming AI,
Yeah.
and he said no one will listen.
Nobody would listen. Well, they don't. But that was a
Mhm.
very good thinking about, the history. So you like history. And then the
Right,
other one I love, again, very recent tweet that you did was something about the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller by Steve
right.
Jobs. I love that
Yes.
one. And what made you decide to tweet that one out? Where did you find that quote? Did you search for it, or was it something you just
I
run
didn't
into
s
and you liked it?
you know, I don't remember how I came across it. I
Yeah,
did come across it.
yeah,
No, I think that's true. I think,
yeah,
when you captivate an audience, I mean, we've got a few people in our community that I've pointed out to a few of them, like, you're a really good writer," or "You're a really good storyteller," and they're not quite
yeah.
aware that's their gifting, but it is true, like, with the power of the story and even, like, what do they say about history? The victors write the history, and this is the story that's told, And
Even
even little
Elon pointed
children.
out, not for Wikipedia though.
Yeah. Well, and that's how you get children, like, in a positive reinforcement. You give them a good story, or there's things like Aesop's fables, but yeah, it's true.
Do you think Elon's a good storyteller?
Um, I think he's a good visionary. So his stories are very future projecting.
Hmm.
I think he keeps I mean, he Elon repeats the same
Yeah,
things over and over again really well. I think that's why his
that's a very good thing.
goals. Yeah, because he's continually stating them over and
Yeah.
over again. It's like some of us are like, "Yeah, I was interested in that 4 years ago, not anymore." He's like, "And this is what I was gonna do 20 years ago," and he's still following it. His master plans, I think he's got a handful that fall into different areas in the umbrella on down, but yeah.
I think he's a fantastic storyteller. I think just what
Yeah.
we just said, the fact that he repeats, stays consistent. That's
Yes.
people need to be reminded.
Mm.
He always starts at the why, always, and few
Yeah.
people do this. I
Right.
mean, most engineers they'll go right to the how and the
Right.
details. Uh, for him to have to always inspire first, it's the
Right.
right thing to do. I think he's
That's
probably the
true.
best in storyteller there is because look at the following, look at the all the accolades that are just running after every word he says.
That's true. No, yeah, you are right. Like yep, that's very true. Very good
Yeah,
yeah, very observant.
yeah. He could do a better job in many ways, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun because I think you and a few others, of course, are very much more astute.
Mm.
You're the one that's closest to understanding Elon. When I do it shortly, I want you to describe the actual details of the third row interview
Oh, yeah.
and share more about him. But you have that for you have first row
Isn't that funny?
to
Yeah.
history.
Oh,
Do you
wow.
get that? Do you understand? Do you
The
realize
fact that we
that?
interviewed him?
Not just that, but
Wow.
you.
Oh, that we're watching him.
you happen to be like right there. You're closer
Yeah,
to him than 99.9% of all humans in the
that is true.
you're a
Oh, Herbert, you have
handful of
good
people.
perspective. Yeah.
I, you so you haven't stopped back and thought, because that's why I'm here. This is all
Right.
this is history in the making. We are
Right.
watching massive, the birth of AI, the birth of general AI, the birth of
Right.
robotics,
Right.
massive changes in the world, and this is the man that's doing it, Elon.
Right.
And he's the richest man on earth, and he's going to become probably 5 times the richest man on earth. And you're like, like you're tweeting back and forth with him. He'll probably
Yeah.
invite you to things. You're like best friends with his mom.
Yeah. You're hilarious. I mean, I do consider people like, "You're worshiping him." I'm like, "No." I'm like, I love history, there's a lot of amazing characters. I mean, I think Leonardo da Vinci was one of my favorite, but if
Yeah,
we're watching somebody that's quite amazing in the way his dynamic is and who he is as a person create history, and we can actually engage with him, and he actually
yeah.
engages back, like, where does that happen? Where this is gonna be recorded. This will be a recorded history. Where does that happen that he actually listens to people, not
Yeah.
just, like, people who have blue check marks or people, you
How
know?
come you don't have a blue check mark?
Because I never applied for verification yet because they keep
What?
changing. No,
Just
they keep
please
changing
do
the
it.
the parameters and making it harder,
You have
and I'm
100,000 followers.
I know, isn't that funny?
Why? What else do you need to do? You're best friends with Elon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
it's
Maybe, I mean,
gonna
it's Twitter, and they
just
don't
please
always like
apply.
Elon.
Please get it, and then you can say Herbert made me get my blue check mark.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I hope I get one just because I don't wanna lose my account, and who
And
knows, like
everybody keeps copying you. Yeah, it's all about knowing they're
yeah, the
following you.
imposters,
Yeah,
I actually
love
sent
it.
my government ID and Twitter's like, "That's not good enough," and I'm like,
Okay.
"Okay."
Um, yeah, I actually don't think that you are worship. You do not worship Elon from what I've seen and the way
Oh,
that
thank you,
you
yeah.
answer questions. Well, I don't know if it's a thank you or not, right? It's just more of a, you know, I see people who are absolute, I can see the difference between the people that worship him and
Yeah,
every word he says, or their opinions will change based on his comments, and
yeah,
he's very very smart. So you never bet against him. Uh, but for me, I look at him more for product, technology,
right.
business. But when it comes to other things, I will pause. I'll try to understand what he's saying, but I still want to, you know, I'll be convinced he's right. But I don't know. I also see his other side, right? Which I think you see.
Right,
He's silly, he's childish, he's immature, he's self-described immature, which is all part of his charm, but
right.
also you gotta take that into consideration. Some things he says is just for fun, not.
Yeah. I mean, people are like, "Oh, he needs to be a better suit and he needs to have better speaking skills." I'm like, I think he functions pretty well as he is." And they're like, "Well, someone else could do a better job." I'm like, "Really? Would we be where we are if someone else did a different job? Like, what you let him pull the reins and do it all, and then all of a sudden you take it from him?" I
Yeah,
don't know. Like, he's kind of in his prime right now.
I think
I
so.
don't.
Yeah, he's a great communicator. I know my wife thinks that he says stutters when he
Right.
speaks. Is that something that he's had all his life as a kid, or like Biden, or no?
Well, and look at me say it right now too. I mean, I don't know what he
You
spoke
don't
like
know.
as
Yeah,
a child, but May did say he didn't speak a whole lot, I think before the age of 4, if
sure.
I'm
Yes.
correct?
So do you think
So,
that he's a genius? He
yeah.
is,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I
Okay.
mean, when we interviewed May and Tuska, they called him boy genius,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure I I wouldn't doubt that, he was testing, that maybe even had him tested, or
Yeah.
just the teachers noticed how bright he was. I mean, he was doing chess young, and it seemed like he was interested in programming when programming was just such a new thing. So, yeah, I think he's a genius.
Yeah,
Um,
I've seen his. They published, I think, one of his scores, and they told him the institution told him that you scored highest of anybody else or something like that. Sure,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
like Einstein genius level,
right,
where their mind is just so different,
right.
or is he just super smart
I
with Asperger's that gets him
Yeah,
even smarter, or just focused, or special thinking, or is
right.
he really at the genius level?
I think he's genius level. I
Yeah,
mean, if you consider the mind like a computer with a lot of tabs open, I don't know. He has a lot of tabs that he's running efficiently. His
It's true.
GPU, CPU, whatever
That's
he's
true.
running, and his RAM are top notch. I
Yeah.
don't know what kind of mitochondria he has in. He doesn't seem like he's aging. Like he's got a nice set of brain and mitochondria and
Yeah.
genes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We just watched Everyday Astronaut, and this. Did you watch that one just recently? That interview that he published on YouTube just 2 days ago.
I watched bits of it.
Yeah,
I need to catch up on this. Elon just keeps on going for interviews
which is
lately.
great. Which is great. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the man is a genius. He knows every little thing, everything about the rocket. Um,
Yeah.
so he has the ability to read, absorb, and then stays there forever, and then he connects all these different things to be able to hone in on a specific problem, and he's
Right.
focused on that problem, and he's inventing things, isn't he? I mean,
Right. Who can create a lot of us can come up with prototypes. We can refine a prototype, but his ability to execute the prototype is like phenomenal.
that's a business genius level there. That's a
Yeah.
totally different. I would not have imagined that he could do that, because if you're one, if you're the inventor, you're not the CEO manufacturer. You know,
Yeah.
but he's proven us all wrong. He invented, as he says, the factory.
Right. Right.
He's
Yeah.
invented a new way, a more
Right.
efficient way. He studied it and that's why it's funny when he put up the map of the gigatexes. It looks like a cell, a battery cell. The way he
Yes.
thinks is input, output,
Yes.
shortest distances for electricity to travel, information to be spread.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a global mind thinking. I think his mind pulls from everything, and, like, that's I think he thinks in pictures and metaphors, and I think that's why irony is funny to him because things, like, strike at a
Yeah.
different No, I agree with you, that's definitely how he thinks, like,
Okay. You're convincing
a
me.
spatial thinker. He thinks very spatial,
Yeah.
like, he sees
I
it,
think
so
that's the thing about genius is that you don't know it until like history and you're looking back and
right,
you go, that person was a genius because,
right.
only once in a generation or once in a, whatever.
Right, right, what do they say? I think I've heard it's, oh, God, can't think of his name, like, right now, Antoine Lavoisier?
Mm,
The one who invented gun or refined the gunpowder, the one who discovered, like,
mm,
oxygen and carbon, and
mhm.
he worked for the king. I mean, he was beheaded during the French Revolution,
Okay.
and he did a lot of great things, and then, like they said, Einstein was 100 years after him, and then
Mm.
Elon's 100 years after Einstein, so in
Oh,
birth, yeah, in
yes.
the when they were born, so
And that's what I mean. We are here. We're watching it in
yeah.
real life, moment by moment, and you're like right there.
I know, it is I think Elon used to ask that, what is it what's an exciting time to be born?" And you think of, like, things that have been like, the 1920s, and, like, the golden era looks cool, but honestly, this is a cool time to be born, like, the
Yeah.
speed of innovation, like, so vertical right now, so,
So
yeah.
you're there, you are witnessing this. So just a little bit more about your tweets and who you are. I noticed that your tweets, and everybody sees this very clearly. That you're much more very about spreading positivity.
Right.
You're raising some very thoughtful ideas. And I just needed to kind of want to understand: is this something that you've always been your entire life, or is it something that you felt like you needed to start to focus on and change how you
Mm.
represent yourself and what you're trying to do as who you are in your role in the Tesla Twitter community? Is this just recent?
Boy. No, I don't think it's recent.
Hmm.
I mean, I was like that in high school and junior high too. Where I grew up was really hard for me.
Hmm.
Um, my mom would always say, just wait till, like, a few years down the road, kids will change, things will be better, like, and just have hope. And so I think I learned to gravitate towards looking to the future and having hope. I loved quotes. I've always loved quotes and sayings and things that inspire me because it just shows they're like footprints of somebody who gives you a little bit
Mm,
of to encourage you, something that helped them through, and they're usually really great things to ponder. So I feel like people need that. I feel like people don't tell each other enough the positive things they see in each other. Like people think,
yeah.
"Oh, I like that shirt," but no one who's gonna it's say it to them. Why not just tell them like,
Mm.
or you have a nice smile. Like I don't know. Like I feel like it needs to happen. I feel
Yeah.
like there's enough negativity. People get down on themselves. I mean, I have friends that I was just tweeting that today. I don't have a negative voice in my head, but I hear a lot of people have negative voices either from
Yeah.
just their own well-being or parents that were harsh on them, and I feel like it'd be nice if people could learn to turn that around. So, I just tweet out positive stuff. I feel like people need it. There's enough negative, so yeah.
No, you're absolutely correct. We do need that, and you're the one of the important people, the celebrities that's doing it. There's a few people in our community that's doing that, and I love it. But there's
Yeah.
too little. Um,
Yeah.
Many of us are just analytical.
Yeah. Yeah. I can get stuck over analyzing things, but that's where I go in the loop of not getting anywhere.
Well, you
Just
do both, yeah, which is really
yeah.
cool. But I'm really glad that you're doing that. So that's important
Oh,
that
thank
that's
you,
your
Herbert.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the third world Tesla. We discovered you there. And
Yeah.
I was shocked when I find out your story that you only got into this in 2018. It feels like because
Yeah.
it bothers me that I was here in 2012,
Yeah.
but I didn't do Twitter until literally just
Yeah.
6 months ago. So that was my problem. But you tell us how you started, how you got involved, and all about Third World Tesla. I know that you've told this story a few times, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there are thousands upon thousands of people who don't know the full story, and they discovered you through that way. So, if you don't mind, just share a little
Oh,
bit
no,
more about
no.
that again. Yeah.
So I got involved in stocks too in like 2018. But
Okay.
2019, but yeah, I mean, I should have got involved in stocks. I mean, you've got your retirement stuff, but like personally choosing and handpicking stocks, I did consider in 2015. I had a kind of a moment in my head, I think, where I went,
Hmm.
I should invest in Amazon and Apple.
Hmm.
I don't know why I didn't.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
should have, but um, so 2019, the shareholders coming up, and you have to have a few shares like a month
What
before
were you
you
already
register.
tweeting? Were you Twitter
Oh, yeah,
already?
I was tweeting. I think I got in March, April 2018 is when I started Twitter.
Okay.
And I've been tweeting all that FUD and
So
plus
so so you invested in Tesla, you got
yeah,
interested in May, you discovered Elon, you love the company, and then you
right.
saw the FUD, and then you said, I need to help. So you started tweeting.
Right, right. Well, and I didn't invest in Tesla until I was tweeting for a while and
Okay.
helping. And I
Yeah.
didn't have a car either. I was just fighting the FUD
This
and
is so shocking to me.
tweeting.
Kristen.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's so funny. That's how I work. I kind of get overly involved in whatever I'm focusing. It is the mission of sustainability, knowing how well their
Yeah.
cars are made, and all that is what helped me get on board to help with it. I mean, Elon was going through a lot, and you could see the company was going through a lot, and it just
But you
I'm
didn't, why
kind of
did you care about the company if you didn't invest or you didn't have a car?
that's so funny, right? I mean, I'm not money's a good thing. I'm not exactly money's not what drives me. I'm not like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
anything to get lots of money." Because it just seemed like it was I mean,
Yeah.
the what Tesla's doing, no one else is doing. It's trying to remove all this carbon from the
Yeah.
atmosphere, like, it's changing the whole industry, like, this vision
Yeah.
is gonna change the planet, like, the way it's going. I mean, I've I was part of, the recycling club and the environment club in high school,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so this is another passion of mine, and I'm like, "Dang, they're gonna do a good job. We need to get on
Okay.
this." I'm the kind
You're
of person
you're
who's like,
you're absolutely a mission driven person, and that's why
"Oh,
you did
yeah.
this with the right heart, the right thought. And then now, of course, you're an investor and you own the car, but
Yeah, I mean, that was a blessing, especially for people who understand stocks, like,
yeah.
what 2020 was, like, wild. They knew it was gonna come. Some of these people have financial backgrounds, some people have definitely done their portfolios, so they were ready. Some have call options that were leaps out, so they did really well for themselves.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay, we'll share my
Yeah.
story some other time. So tell
Yeah.
me about Thorough Sessa. So then, okay, so you were an investor. Yeah, sorry, you got into this whole thing. You started tweeting because you were trying to protect the company. And what was your before we get to Third World Tesla? So
Right,
you just started tweeting,
right.
and you discovered that there was a community. Who was the first people that you saw on the Twitter community at that time?
I got on Twitter to support Elon and
Yeah.
Tesla. So I got on there and, I would just tweet under him, and then you would start to see familiar people and tweets, and sometimes you get a vibe for him, and so, maybe there's some cheesy banter you have with somebody, and it's like a
Who
positive
was the
vibe
first
that
first people? Who were the bigger celebrities at that time?
yeah. Oh, who were the people that stood out to me? I think Jonna. Jonna was one that stood out to me. She always had a positive vibe.
She was there since 2018 too. Yeah, she's a
Mhm.
journalist. Yeah.
Yep, yep, and
Okay.
she's a journalist. Back then, she had I don't even know if she was a journalist that year, but she
Mm.
had just started. Popo Muscanity,
Hmm.
he was one. I'm trying to think. Elon's brain was somebody that I met. I mean, he's a bigger, smaller account. I don't know if he's tweeting as much as what I mean to state right now.
Hmm.
Um, God, I'm trying to think
Well,
who.
what about Omar and
Oh, God, yeah. Well, Omar was. I
Gali?
didn't. Gally. See, Gally just he
It
had
wasn't
just
really.
done in he had just started his whole podcast and everything the year before, so he was still a fledgling too, but he was all over it, and, like, Gally's energy was positive, you'd see his tweets here and there. Omar was doing Steve Jobs then,
Yes.
and he was really aggressive, and man, he was, like, the person that went to town, like, with Tesla Q, like, some of us were like, "That's wrong," and we'd refute it, but Omar was just, like,
Hmm.
pulling stuff out left and right, and, like,
Yeah.
he obviously was gaining traction because they really targeted him.
Targeted him. Yeah. Were you
Mhm.
targeted by Tesla Q as well when you started to defend?
Yeah, they target I mean, they would argue with me and stuff like that, they would
Mhm.
everybody else. Back in 2018, 19, yeah, there's probably some stuff that they recorded they didn't like, but targeted, like, not to
Good.
the same degree that Steve Jobs' ghost was
Which is
targeted.
what Omar was at. Yeah, not very few people know, but before Omar's catalog, he was
Yes.
Steve Jobs' ghost.
Before Homar's catalog, he was running the Third Row Tesla account, and he
Okay.
started that from scratch. That had been opened up by, John of Silicon Valley when he was part of Third Row at the very beginning, and Omar had just lost his account end of October 2019, and we just were like, "Well," like, everybody was helping with Third Row, and we were all helping we
Okay.
were like, "We could
So
all
yeah,
help run the
you're
account."
skipping, I think. Hopefully let's not skip. So
Okay.
you got
Yeah.
into Twitter, you start tweeting, you're defending it, you start to discover these people just like we are
Yeah, yeah.
now. And then liking it. And then what happened? And then was it the
And then
shareholder meeting already, or was there other things
okay,
that
so
yeah.
shareholder meeting was June 11th, 2019,
Mm.
and we saw it coming up and we were all just like kind of nerd like, "Oh man, we can go listen to this in person like we live it online." And we didn't know each other that well. We just knew each other from accounts. And so
So
it was just kind of
did you
Vincent,
DM each other the groups and said, hey, we're
not a
gonna all
whole
be
lot.
there?
Some of us were in different chat groups.
Mm.
Like we've been invited to like people who discuss Tesla or something. Vincent was another one of the accounts
Hmm.
and Viv.
Hmm.
Um, what had happened, I think some of us were just tweeting out, "Hey, I'm going to the
Mm.
shareholders," and other people like, "Oh yeah, I am going too." And so we're like,
Oh,
"Oh, maybe we'll see each other there." And like
right.
a few of us were like, "Oh, what time should we get there?" And Gally's like, "You should get there early." So I think,
How many Tesla Twitter people do you think went to the shareholders group?
mm,
Like 15, 50?
I would say probably 20 to 30.
Mm.
There's some, I mean, not some, there's some accounts you probably recognize and other ones you don't. And I can't say other people that were there don't have Twitter accounts, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure how involved they were. So yeah, I don't know, but
Mm.
I'm one of those people, if I'm gonna do something, I'm either gonna do it right. So I'm like, "We're getting there first. We're getting there early." And I told a few of the people, like, "We need to get there early," and we were, like, some of the first people there. I think there was 2 guys in front of us, and then, like, it was, like, me and Omar, and then I think who showed up, like, John of Silicon Valley, and maybe, like, Safian and Viv, and Viv showed out flew out from Germany. Vincent came, so
Viv flew out from Germany, and I understand, is a high school kid, a teenager at the time? No.
so Viv, I believe, is 23 or 24 right now.
So she was
So
young, 20s or
she was
something,
like
early
19
19.
or
That's
20.
so cool.
Yeah, she was in college by then, so,
I
like,
need
or
to talk
just
to her too. Could you introduce me to her?
yeah, yeah.
It's so
I don't know
cool.
if yeah, we'll have to see, like, I don't know
Okay.
what she's all into right now.
So then you guys all went, and then
We
you
all went.
arrived, and then what happened? You just happened to sit in the third row, or
We got in well, since we're first in line, we I think we got there at, like, 9:10 in the morning.
Mm.
It was the, Mountain View Computer, like, Museum, whatever, in Palo Alto. It happened to be 106 degrees.
Mm.
So we sat out in the sweltering heat, hoping to get these seats. So we get in there and we quickly, get in there and want to sit front and center. And Gally's like, the board sits first,
Mm.
first row. We should sit second row. We should sit right here, third row, because this is where we can see Elon. He's like, right here. And we're like, okay, okay. So like we sit down, and I think it went. I think it went Viv on the outside, then Gally, then me, then Omar, then Vincent, and then Vincent's friend, and then behind us was Raj and John, and then in the aisle across, I think from Viv, maybe up or down, was Safian. And so we all kind of just sat there, and like I think remember, like Elon was late, and he was saying,
Hmm.
I think he had his microphone. He was like, I can't get my lightsaber in my backpack just a
You could.
minute, like
It's one of those scenes where he's talking, and you can
yeah.
hear him.
So
Could have
he's
been
like,
worse.
he's not on stage, but we can hear him, and like he comes out, and
This is the
that's
first
where
time
I
you guys
think
all met
grew.
then in person? That was
No,
it?
yeah, that's the first time I saw him in person. That's
No,
when
no,
Karuna
the other
was
guy, all
introduced
the
as
other
well.
people.
I don't think any of them seen him in person. I think Gally
No,
had.
you met Gali, you met Omar like that.
Oh yeah, we all met for the first time.
That was it.
Yeah,
That is
that was
really
it. And
cool.
then I think literally a few days later I started a chat group and I called it Third Row because
Yes.
we sat third row.
So
And
you're
then
the one that came up with the name.
yep, I came up with the name Third Row.
That is
And
so cool, Kristen. I
yeah,
didn't see
yeah.
how come we don't know this? Okay, this is so
I
cool.
don't know. Like
See, for
yeah,
you,
I
it's
came
not
up
a
with
big
Third
deal,
Row.
but I'm telling you now, there are thousands of fans who love you and obviously the
Oh,
group and got introduced it with that. And then, they know because of Third World Tesla. I mean, I don't know why, but people keep bringing it up still when I do these interviews and spaces. It's
yeah,
still a big
it's
deal for
true.
people.
It was the right place at the right time. I just thought, wow, I like all these people. Like some of them I messaged a little bit beforehand.
Yeah.
All of us were pretty strong personalities, really dynamic. By that time, Elon has been responding to me, Omar, and Viv quite
Okay.
often.
Yes.
I think he
So
responded to John every now and
you're the
then.
connector, right? You're
And
the one that
Vincent,
brings everybody together.
right, right. And Vincent, he was responding to a
Hmm.
lot then too, because I think Giga Texas or Giga China was getting ready to like
Gotcha.
get ready. And so Vincent had that, the bent over there for the Chinese news. So
So after the
mhm.
Third World Tesla, you guys watched the shareholder meeting. Did you guys go out like
Oh,
that?
yeah, there was
Like,
an investors dinner that I'd already bought tickets for, an
yeah.
OG Tesla person, shout out to Bonnie Norman, had arranged that, and
Yes.
she did it for years before, so I had arranged for that. A few people who are on the ball had arranged for that, other people crashed it, so, yeah. They came last minute, and we had dinner, and then after that, I think I was tired by then because we had not eaten a lot.
Yeah.
The meetings, I believe, started at 2. I really didn't have lunch, and we'd been out in 106-degree weather.
Yeah.
So and I think I even had blisters on my shoes, so or my feet, so I turned in early for the night. I was tired, but I did meet up with a few of them the next day because I went on a tour of the Gigafactory
Oh
in
my
Fremont.
gosh. No way. That is
Yeah,
so
the next
cool.
day. Yeah.
They let it just fans do this or
Well, you
was it
have
open
to
to the public?
arrange it.
Mm,
So I had arranged because I'd planned on doing this, I arranged, I think, a month at least beforehand to do a tour, and I just happened to get the day after the,
okay. Was this
shareholder
just
meeting.
you or was it with the group?
Just me, I didn't know who else was going, and, like, the slots fill up, so I just was planning on going by
You're
myself. I think,
you're an absolute nerd.
yeah, I was like, "I'm just gonna go," like,
You're
and I
so
met some
cool.
people that I may not know online now, so
Okay. So then you guys go home, you're tweeting back to each other. What a great
yeah,
event. And then what? What
and then we
happened
just well, I mean, a lot of us were really different dynamic, and I realized, wow, what we have such an opportunity, like,
Yeah.
to be something and do something, and so we kinda just, like, brainstormed ideas, like, we would joke around about stuff, and Elon would tweet to us, different random people, and, like, we talk more, and, like, I think just we started putting together, like, we can do a group, and so
Hmm.
I think uh, we opened up a Twitter page that we
Hmm.
hadn't used yet. We didn't start using it till later. Like we all kind of helped run it, but like I think Omar was the majority of the person who tweeted for it for sure
Hmm.
after he lost his account. But the idea of podcasts had come along. We had
Hmm.
talked about different things and merch, and we were all part of the podcast.
Yeah.
So it just kind of kept going, like what we were gonna do. And so yeah, that was I think November 2019 is when we started the podcast.
Okay.
So
And then the story I understand is Viv sent a tweet and then Elon replied. When was that?
it was, I believe it was a few days or a week before Christmas. I wanna say December
Okay.
17th, but I don't know the exact day. Elon had been joking about being a magnet and not a magnate, and how his Wikipedia I know, he's so funny. His
He's fine.
Wikipedia wasn't correct, and she's like, "Would you like to come on our podcast?"
That
And
was the real that's
yeah,
so
she's like, "Would
silly.
you like to" I know, isn't that funny? Like
No, the overarching thing is that people are writing things about you on your Wikipedia historically, and it's not correct. Can you come in
correct.
and correct? This seems to be a prevailing theme for him. He wants to have these other interviews because there's so many things that he gets fud, uh,
So true.
fake stuff that's being told about his story, and he needs to at
Right.
some point tell it himself, right?
The power of the storyteller, having the story correct, right? Like, seriously, like, the story people I mean, that's what we're dealing with media, the propaganda, rewriting the story so it
Yeah.
fits their
Well,
narrative, so
the victor should be able to tell it at some point the truth, and
yeah.
that's your more role and my role. That's why I'm doing this, and I think you are as
Yeah.
well.
Thank you for
Okay,
reaching out.
so then Viv tweets him. He says, "Sure, I'd like to do it." And
Right.
then how does the planning work with
Oh
Elon?
my
How does that
god.
work? Are you talking to some intermediary person who's like his handler and tells you, okay, this is going to be the
Yeah,
location, this is going to be the time, you guys are going to arrive through this door? How does all
it's
that
so
work? I've
funny.
never done this before.
Oh my gosh, because it was like a week before Christmas or something like that. So, of course, we're all freaking out. Like, we're like, oh my gosh.
He said yes.
Yeah, we say yes, but we had made a decision. We're not all going to get a hold of him or attempt to get a hold of him at once. We try to
Yeah.
make a few of us that did it and just like pin people in emails. Some people already had a few contacts at Tesla, like just because they've been involved in years, like through the service center or other people, not sure. So I believe one of their people reached out to us and we
Okay.
worked through, he's got assistants. We worked through an assistant that helped set it up.
Okay.
And they kind of give us days. I believe it was going to be a week earlier or a few days earlier, and then it changed dates. It was going to
Kept
be at
canceling, right? Yeah.
Hawthorne by SpaceX, and it was supposed to only be audio. And we're like, well, we do video and audio. And
Hmm.
they're like, oh, okay, well, that changes it. And so they changed it. So you got to be flexible because I mean, Elon's flexible and his schedule's extremely tight and busy. So
Yeah.
yeah, we worked through, we just had to like work through the assistants on what to do. So
Okay. Well, you guys lucked out, right? Obviously, an historic
very,
home, and then it's a
oh,
and then his family was there, and you spent the
what's
whole afternoon.
It's so crazy, like, we were supposed to do the interview, I believe, on the 3rd, and they like, "Oh, like, we have to change it," and then later that night, we thought, "Oh, well, dang, we don't know." We'd all flown down to LA, and we thought we're gonna, like, do this interview, and they send out, I think, a message letting us know, "Oh, here's the new date for the interview, here's the location," and we're like, "Oh." It showed, like, right where his resident is because he owned a few like, a house, like,
Yes.
thing for
Yeah.
his, like, kids' school and then, like, one for him, but it was right there. We're like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to Beverly Hills," like, to his house, like, to interview him, so we were blown away.
Okay. And then tell us about the interview itself. So yeah.
So we were told to we would get like an hour or two. We come a little early and set up the mics and test things. So we did that. I believe 10 o'clock was the time we were supposed to kick off, and we thought we'd only be there for a few
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
Lunchtime. I mean, the interview was great. We met Elon walks in the door and extremely gracious, very kind. Um, we sit him down and we were all kind of sitting around there and we get going and talking and lunchtime rolls around and next thing you know he's telling his assistant to get us lunch because he's very hospitable, so we're getting lunch and the
Mm.
next thing we know we're in the kitchen having lunch with Elon. So and May was there as well from the get-go, so we were delighted that May was there. She had the puppies with her,
Yeah, I think in the
Marvin the
video we saw
Martian.
that she's like sitting on the couch, like right there
Yes,
with Kimball.
yes, yeah, and
Like you guys
Delray,
are
her
like a
doggy.
party.
Yeah, we were so and it wasn't till after, let's see, maybe it was, like, right around before lunch that, Kimball walked in,
Yes.
and, we were shocked. We're like, "Oh my gosh, Kimball here," like, the whole family, like,
Wonderful. Yeah.
so it was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a wonderful, wonderful interview. I think we've all watched it so much. So yeah, anything else to add about that? I mean, how do you guys say goodbye?
Oh, that was
Did
so
you just
funny.
walk up and leave and say thank you very much, or was it much more? Did he come? Did he sign? When did he sign people's cars? When did that happen?
Oh, that was at the very end. I actually had thrown that idea out earlier because I was like, when we were in things, I'm like, so I'm gonna fly down, but I was like, should I fly down with my visor? Because I considered having him sign
Yeah,
it, but I'm like, I'm not even sure if I can just yank it off.
yeah.
And that's just cheesy to walk in an interview with someone you
It's
respect,
not
like, "Here's my
cheesy.
visor, shine it."
Not
But done
cheesy at
it.
all.
I know.
You're so
I
smart. You
just
did this. So you were the one that remembered to do this. That's
I
brilliant.
told her, I was like, "You guys should do that." And then, like,
Yes.
Omar shouted it out. He's like, "Will you?" Because we were only allowed to bring a few Teslas and we had to
Yeah.
carpool. So Safian and Omar brought their vehicles.
So
But
you didn't even get to bring yours.
no, I flew down. I
You
mean, it
didn't
was
have the
like,
car. That's right.
and I didn't bring the visor. Maye Musk had actually her book had gone into order, and I got the pre-order sales, so I think I was one of the first people to get her book. And
Nice.
I was literally listening to it on audio and, had read it, and so I brought my book to have
There
her
you go.
sign.
Nice.
Mhm. So her and
Oh,
Elon both signed the book, and
oh my
I think
God,
Vincent thought
Kristen.
like me, he as well has the book too, so
Yeah,
and so I think we were going all through the day. It
yeah.
was getting close to 4, and I think it was Omar who said, "Hey, we shouldn't take all your time, and we
Oh,
should
for
probably get
sure. Ten
going."
to four. That's
It's a
you
long
can't
day.
overstay your you're like a guest.
Right? And Elon's like, "Oh, yeah." He I mean, he was I think he's having a good I think he enjoyed it. I
Of
mean,
course he did,
I don't know
yeah.
how much Elon has time to sit on a Saturday, but man, he gave us his whole Saturday, so we were very honored.
Yeah, this is very cool. I mean, this kind of explains, maybe explains why you guys are so, I don't know, it's not the right word, rabid about spending so much time
Yeah.
defending Tesla. I mean, it's funny
Yeah.
because I say that I'm doing it, everybody's doing it,
Yeah, yeah, it's
but
good.
you know, you know, you guys
Yeah.
are important and you're part of the mission. So he gave
Yeah.
me the time. This is
Yeah.
cool. I mean, if he spent 6 hours with you and had lunch and his brother and his mom met you, you guys are like, you're not just a customer.
Yeah. I mean,
You're a
I like
friend.
all yeah, for sure.
So
I love
did
Elon.
you get do you get invites like at the Giga Texas party, CyberRodeo? Did you get an
Yeah.
invite to the private thing?
Oh, I got an invite to no, I wasn't VIP at that event, but I
Well,
did
why
get
not?
invited.
The
Oh, to the private party, the VIP
the
party.
secret
I
private party.
I wasn't VIP. I've been a VIP before, but I wasn't VIP at this event.
You should ask. You are VIP.
You're
So
so sweet.
it is hilarious. Maybe I should tell the story right now. What happened?
Yeah. You can tell
I could tell the
it.
story. I'm excited about it. I really love. I found myself. I tell people when I was at the Cyber Rodeo party that I was Forrest Gump. Like for some reason, throughout the whole day, I kept finding myself at the right place, right time.
You were.
I was. So I'll tell the story because it involves you.
Yeah.
So you're so kind. So what happened was, the late at night, the event ended, and I was separated from Jacob, who's going to be my ride home, and there's 15,000 people there.
Yeah.
So my phone is dying. So I sent a last message to him, and the internet keeps going in and out, so we don't know if he's going to reply back. But I said, let's meet at the giant booth outside as soon as the event ends. And he finally was able to get connected and he said, yes, I'll meet you there. Okay, great. The event ends. Everybody streams out. They're all going home already. So I go to the boot and I'm tired. I did not eat all day. I want to go home. I'm so tired. It's been a long day. I've been standing up and I'm irritable because he doesn't show up for 45 minutes. He doesn't even show up at all.
Oh
So I'm
boy.
getting upset and I keep calling
Yeah.
him, but he won't answer the phone. And finally, 45 minutes later, he picks up the phone and it's like busy, can't hear each other. And he says,
Right.
I'm upstairs on the third floor. I'm still buying,
Mm.
merchandise. And I'm
Yeah.
like, my phone is about to die. If I come try to find you, if I lose you, I'll never find you again. Come down here. Let's go. He said, no. Yeah, Jacob is a 23-year-old young guy. He's such a nice dude. And for him to say
Yeah.
no was like a shock to me. It's like he really wants to buy this merchandise. Like,
Yeah.
so I make myself go all the way up to the third floor. Everybody's gone home. It's quite quiet, except there's this massive long lineup for the merchandise. And then he says, "Oh, let's go. I think that there's some sort of party somewhere. I heard a rave room. Let's go all the way to the other side of the factory, and we'll have Anthony and his wife wait and buy the merchandise." So we went and walked all the way away, and then we're coming back, and then we had communicated with Tesla Joy earlier that day, and so we asked her, "Where are you?" And she said, "Well, she's right at that line." And
Yeah.
she's sitting in a little corner of, little quiet little space. And there's her, there's you, and then there's
Yeah.
John Mitchell, and there's uh, um, Kim Paquette, right?
Yes.
The, you guys are just sitting there quiet, talking to each other. And I'm like, okay, oh, okay, so sit down. And I'm talking to Son Mitchell and Kim Paquette. And, Jacob gets me food. So I come back. So there I am with you guys. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. And then, so you said there is some sort of secret VIP party, and then Jacob, being Jacob, he runs to every security guard he can find. Young guy
Yeah.
runs around. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Nobody will knows. He
Well,
finally finds
Jacob
him.
told me about it actually. He says there's a rave room,
What?
and that was the after event. Yeah, he'd
You
already
did?
found
How
it.
did you not know?
Well, no, I knew about it, but
Okay.
you had to go to it before they started shutting down the regular event, and
Yeah.
then you were there, but,
Okay.
I actually talked to a guard and he said, you can get to it. You have to get on the buses and go to it. And I'm like, well, they're just putting us on the buses to go to the parking lot.
Go
Let
to
me figure
home.
it
Yeah.
out. Right.
So Jacob goes, runs around. He finally finds a guard, tells him where it is. Okay,
Right.
so he knows where it is. So then he asked you, let's go. I think you said yes, right? You said, okay, let's go find it. Sure. So then we all go down and we go
Right.
outside, and then there's these buses that are
Right.
shepherding everybody back to the parking lots to go home already. And so
Right.
we're all there. And then, so it just so happens that Joy got into one bus ahead of us and she just
Mm-hmm.
went home. So it's like, I'm just saying that there's these moments in decision making that could make the difference between, life changing event or not. So she went in
Right.
and left.
You got to can't check out quite yet. You're still there.
You don't know what's happening because we were just gonna home. No, I think you said let's just go home. Like we're just gonna go home already. We're in a bus. We're just gonna go home. Anyways,
Well, I
okay.
had an idea. Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
then all my friends, from the clubhouse group, we all were together, but
Right.
and then some of them left. So then I got into a bus, and then Jacob and you were away at the back, and
Right. Right.
and I was somewhere in the middle. And then as the bus was driving along, taking us to the parking lot to go home, Jacob saw a door open, and
Right.
and he tells me the story. I want to hear your side, but he's telling me the story later.
Right.
He told you, "Hey, Kirsten, that's I just saw where the party is."
Yes, I think he did say that.
He
He said,
goes,
I think
Do
that's
you
the
want to
room I
come? Do
was
you want to
in.
go? Do you want to go? And he goes, sure, let's go. And
Yeah.
then as the bus, parked, it just so happens that there's these these toilets.
Right.
And so then he yells out to me, Herbert, when you get out the bus, stay there because we're all going to use the washroom, the toilets first.
Right.
And so all of my friends, they get out of the bus. They're all told
Mm-hmm.
by the guard, everybody going turn left, turn right, turn right, because you're.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I was just
they
like, I'm going over here to the restroom.
they
Mm-hmm.
were all shepherd. They were all like, you got to go
Oh,
this way
wow.
to the parking lot. But then I came out and says, we're going to go to the washroom first, and then so I went to the right. They went to the left. Yeah, and then so then it was you, me, Jacob, and then this other
Mm-hmm.
guy, Steve. I don't know where he came from. Didn't know him.
Yeah.
And then we just started walking past the washroom. So I'm with you. And then when we get to the door of the secret VIP party, there's guards there, of course. And then Steve, uh, he's just this gregarious extrovert guy, and he just walks right in and with authority he says, "We're with Kristen. We're with Kristen. Kristen's
Yeah.
VIP." And we all walked in, and they let us through.
I didn't know he said that. I
You
just
didn't
walked.
know?
And I'm like, I'm going in. Like, that's
No,
just like,
you were the
just go
celebrity,
in.
and
Yeah.
Steve just bust through telling the
Yeah.
guards, "This is Kristen. She's
Yeah.
a celebrity." We just all walked in.
That's so funny. I didn't know you guys said that.
Yeah. So there I am at the secret VIP party with you,
Yeah.
and then somebody says Elon's here, Kimball's here,
Yeah. I had no clue they were
Franz
all
is
there.
here, and I had the chance to talk to each of them. So I just like
That's so
shocker that
cool.
I was with you and you.
Yeah. I mean, you guys were gregarious. You guys were outgoing on your own. You like took the initiative. Like, wow. Yeah, yeah. That's so cool. So tell more. I want to hear more.
No, that's it. This is not about me. There's a lot to tell about my experience, but this is not
Yeah.
me. It takes me an hour and a half to tell the entire story because there's so many things
Oh,
that happen that is so freaky, fluky,
yeah.
really cool. But it's not about me. So
But the event was super cool. I mean, I mean, I got there and I'm like, dang, like I've been on my feet since on this concrete. I'm like, I want to dance. I'm like,
yeah.
but my feet have said no. So I watched people for a little bit and I'm like, okay, I got up. I think I danced a little bit and I saw a bunch of friends that I knew and you guys were there. And
Of
then I was like,
course,
okay,
yeah. We find out later that May and Tosca was there. If you did you know that, or you could have sat with them?
I didn't see them there. I mean, it was kind of smoky, a lot of
Yes.
cool lights. Yeah. Like I saw, I think I saw Elon there and I saw
Yeah.
Kimball there. I saw a bunch of my other friends, like a lot of people there.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I was like, and I wasn't sure. I think it was like 2 in the morning by then. I don't know.
It
So
was, yeah, it was time to go home. But I was just very shocked that I was even with you and I was even there.
yeah,
So that was so cool.
it was really cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
the Giga Texas, they put on a good
that
party.
was a good
Everything was
party.
so good. I
It
really
was
wish I was
amazing.
outside to watch those fireworks.
Anyway, so what did you think about CyberRodeo? Yeah, you thought it was a cool party, but you had already toured Fremont. So what was your thoughts about, Texas and how it compared to Fremont?
Wish it was a 2-day event. I would have loved to just to walk around by myself and take it all in. But I
Mm.
mean, I'm very outgoing, so I wanted to greet everybody too, and
I'm
I
sure
was thinking,
you must have been, were you surrounded like celebrity? Like everybody
well, I
just
don't know
kept
if it's a
coming up to
celebrity,
you?
it was just like a lot of people I knew, and I want to say hi. There's some people I've never met before, and they're like, "We want to meet you." And that building, as you know,
You're
like
a
the
celebrity.
Wi-Fi
That's
just
what that means. I want to meet you.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and my phone died. I'm like, "Thanks, phone." Like, the Wi-Fi signal's not working, but thanks,
Yeah.
phone. So I couldn't I sometimes I couldn't get a hold of everybody, but I would say hi to people. But I feel like I really wanted to take in more than I did.
Hmm.
I would love to go. I mean, if they would let us as shareholder go around, I'm sure there's a whole lot more out that we're not supposed to see, but I I wanted to see more. I wanted
Yeah.
to take in it a little bit more, so I try to make people priority when I'm with them, but sometimes, like, things like that, you're like, "Okay, I know this is a party, it's a big event, but I really wanna take this in." So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
You prioritize your the people versus the actual, but you're such a nerd. You want to know, and you'll reserve that for
Yes.
another tour.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we're spending a lot of time, so I want to get deeper into some other stuff. So I want to move faster. So first, what
Okay.
do your family and friends think about your obsession with Tesla and the amount of time you're spending? Because I am
Mm,
asked that, everybody's asked that. What about you?
right. Um, they know it's, well, they know this is the way I work. I get completely
Mm-hmm.
enthralled with whatever I'm involved in, so it's
Mm-hmm.
expected. The years that we were involved in it, 2018, 2019, I was doing schooling. 2020, COVID hits, right? Right
Yeah,
after our Elon interview. It's like, Elon interview, COVID. So he goes off to China for the Gigafactory opening.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know if you could really speak to what is okay during COVID because it just seemed like people were throwing themselves into whatever to keep sanity. So I was just more involved in the Twitter community, Tesla Twitter community and stuff like that during that time. So it seemed like a lot, but we were also having no really social life
yes,
outside of anything that was online, it seemed like, because you weren't allowed but I
yeah.
mean, we just all went through it, like, can't go to the store, I need to wear a mask, like, certain days you're doing this, there's no toilet paper, like, so, I think people probably I don't know if anyone thought anything much of it. I think we're
No,
coming out
not
the
at that
tail end of
time.
it.
That's normal. Yeah, but what
Yeah.
about now? You know?
Um, Now I think people just know I'm a nerd about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out I mean, things the dynamics of it change, right? Like, third row is not doing third row anymore, people have
Hmm.
moved on and done different things,
Hmm.
new people who are I mean, like, Sawyer's doing some great stuff, he always gets the news out before anybody else, like yeah, so it's like it what needs to be there and who needs to be there is there right now, and then you just kinda think about, "What's my role? Like, how can I help?" Like, I don't wanna waste my time just being here as much as I love it, so just kinda thinking about what I'm doing
Where
and
are you at with that thinking?
well, I mean, I'm gonna be doing some podcast series, some
Yes.
might be audio, and
Yeah.
then I think I
Well,
mean, I was
what
told a
about
lot during third row I
audio?
should launch just do
Okay.
myself. They're like, "You don't need everybody," but I was like, "But I like everybody." But they're like, "You should just do one by yourself." So, my thing is I can do it, but I wanna make sure I commit to it. I don't wanna just start something and stop it because I don't
Okay.
think that's fair. I mean, that happens, like, entrepreneurs or people do things, it rises, it falls, but I really wanna make sure I do it and it has the momentum to keep going if I'm gonna do it, so,
Okay. I
yeah.
am looking forward to this. I know people are you are the one of the top people that people just dying for more Kristen. They want
Oh,
to
you're
hear
so
more
nice,
from you.
Herbert. That's
No,
so funny. I just
I'm
like,
not
"Yeah, it's
being
just me."
nice. I'm not being nice. I tell I tell the truth typically. It is a
Oh.
fact. I'm just replaying facts of what I keep hearing all the time, right? So
Oh, wow.
we need more of you. So that's
Thank
great. That would
you.
be wonderful if you did that.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get to some thoughts you're thinking.
Okay.
I really wish I could spend more time with batteries, but because that's your, I do realize that is your passion, but you're just so intelligent about that. But I want to get your thoughts on a variety of things. So, what do you think about Twitter purchase?
Oh,
What's
yeah.
your why do you think he did it? And
Right,
do you think it's a, this the standard questions everybody's asking? Do you think that it's a
right,
distraction? Um, do you support it yourself,
right.
for whatever reason? Yeah.
So, um, the Twitter purchase I don't think was a knee-jerk thing.
Mhm.
I think the opportunity presented itself and he jumped on it. I think Elon has loved Twitter for a long time and the idea of creating a social media, I think he called it Pravda for a while there for truth.
You did.
What was less propaganda has been on his mind for a while.
Mhm.
And I think the perfect storm of and different dynamics had come together, and he just jumped on it. And I think he was seeing a lot of things happen through COVID about information and the way it came down and the way things were executed. And I mean, even those videos that came out today about maybe some Twitter employees and the way
Hmm.
they deal with things, even
Hmm.
though they have one face, they have another face that they don't show in the way that they're handling things. I think, I mean, I'm trying to think what was your last question that you asked?
So do you support it?
Oh, do I
Yeah.
support it? Oh, and do you think it's too much? Elon
Mhm.
has said before Tesla is like a child to him. So I just kind of, and I mean, I don't know how he does it. Not to say we're all like him, and we're examining it from the way that we function, going, "Oh my gosh, it's too much on a plate," or "That's taking away from the mission." But I think this aligns actually in the overarching mission. Elon, I don't think would take something on
Hmm.
unless it was in his master plans.
Hmm.
So I think it's fine. I
Hmm.
can't function at the level he does, but he seems to be doing fine. I mean, the man juggles like that. I don't know how he does, but
Hmm.
I think he considers it like a kid, just another kid. And it's kind of like when families are like, "I've never loved a child more than I've loved this
He's
child.
got
How can I
seven
have another
kids.
child?"
Yeah, he's got
So
7 kids.
that's
Yeah.
my take. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to love it as much as he would Tesla and SpaceX for Mars, but uh, I think he
Yeah.
has plans. So we'll have to see. Things may change. Who knows?
All right. So what do you think will be in Master Plan Part 3?
For Tesla,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because he said it's Tesla, but then he threw in SpaceX. I mean, like, why? Why did he throw said that there will be some parts of it?
well, Elon's very practical, very efficient, and at any chance he can cross share his engineers and the plans, he does because why not? Like it's kind of like I mean when you buy something you're hoping you're using it at multiple times, not just a one time setting. So he obviously I mean, the robots are probably gonna I mean, and I thought about this back in 2018, 19 too, like, why if we do the first people to Mars, it shouldn't even be people, it should just be robots going to Mars. Like, why would you even send humans? Because the outcry, I mean, the Challenger exploded and people,
Yes.
"Oh my gosh, someone's gonna die." It was horrible, but I mean, these people are like the kind of people who know
Yeah.
that if they summited, you know, the Himalayas, Mount Everest, you're gonna die. This is a high likelihood kind of lifestyle that you're going to die. Someone's gonna there a starship's going to
Yeah.
not function right at some point. So, but yeah, robots. I think the Tesla robots will probably go to Mars. I think. I mean, everyone did say the Boring Company. A lot of people have said that. Oh, that's perfect because we can like you watch the documentaries. It'd be better to live subsurface.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
for Mars. But I think Elon has to keep a lot of his head in the game here on Earth to convince us as much as his head is in the stars because not everyone is thinking it's efficient to go to Mars. So he
Yeah.
has to continue to do things that help us here. So, yeah. But what do you think? I'm curious.
It's yeah, there's lots to talk about.
There's a lot.
We should do a space on this.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so will you be buying a Tesla bot?
Will I be buying a Tesla bot? At this point, it would really have to prove an area of my life that I could use it. It's funny because everyone who asks whether these retail investors, we think about it for like home use. Like, oh yeah, something could I don't know if it could do multiple different jobs, maybe if it was the price range that I wanted to. As for a business, I think that's where it's gonna be useful because a lot of big, commercial businesses that have
Yeah.
like labor on a floor, that's where I think it's gonna become
But
more
you're
efficient.
one of the original FSD beta users.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think you
Yeah.
told me that you were probably, after the employees, you were right next in line, top 15 after the employees.
Well, yeah, I think it went John, Raj, and then I mean, I think it was like
Were you ahead of Omar?
Omar and then me. No,
Then
we
you,
got
okay,
it
Omar, then you.
practically the same. I think he got it and I got it like 20 minutes later. And then like a few days it was like maybe someone else. I don't even remember
Yeah.
who it was after that.
I
And
see again, aren't you? You got to stop, sit back. Think about it. I was
yeah,
one of the, I'm not an
yeah.
OG FSD beta user, but I did
Hmm.
everything I can to be on part of the first wave October
That's so
last
cool.
year.
Right.
And there was 2,000 users at that time.
Right. Right.
And I just needed, and I know a lot of people are saying with me, to be part of that because
Right.
there's 7.5 billion people in the world, and
Right.
you are first, probably 300, 600
Right.
people who saw the birth and helped. with the birth of AI, generalized AI and bots.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I mean, I was all over that, and I wish I would
Yeah,
have done more videos. I just like it's COVID. There was so many different personal things going on in our life, so I wasn't capable of.
yeah,
I mean, Omar's done a really good job with the videos. Kim Biquette,
yes,
her account grew, and
because
she
of
did a
that.
phenomenal job. She, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't, it's not like I'm giving information. She was an airline stewardess. We all saw
yes,
the planes were grounded, so Kim went to town making amazing videos,
yeah.
and she lived in a huge area where her security was safe, and she just made a lot of videos, and I love it. I love that people just dived in with a dedication for it. So
I'm going to interview Kim next week.
nice.
Yeah, she's on the books. But Tesla bot, my theory is I would buy it. I know you will too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
would just do it.
probably. Yeah, I mean,
But the reason I think I would do it's like, yeah, I'm not going to spend 25 grand on a
right.
home bot that's going to do dishes and laundry. Not going to do that.
Yeah,
But if you think about it, let's say it does that and it sits there, it does it for 2 hours of the day. It's not worth it. But
right.
for the rest of the 22 hours a day, I'm going to teach it how to fold napkins. And then I'm going to sell the best napkins in the world. And I'm going to make 1,000, 2,000 bucks a month. And that's
That's
going to pay
funny.
for it. See? So
That's true.
I can teach
Mine's gonna
out.
bake banana bread, the best. Tons of it at home.
You're going to corner the market of banana bread. I own napkins. Don't do napkins. That's mine. I
Yeah.
already said it. I claim it. I got dibs on
Mine's
that.
gonna load the pizzas in the site Robotaxis.
Oh, that's lots of robots do pizza
Yeah.
stuff. I'm doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can
Yeah,
teach it to do something, and it works for you, and you can sell that thing. And so
that's true.
that's why it's going
That's
to be worth
true.
it. But anyways, that's interesting. I know you should already start vying for it. You want to be the first person with a robot, and I do too. So I am now 1 degree away to become a first
Yes.
person with robot. Okay.
Well, maybe we should petition Elon. We're like, "Look, you need a list of people who are gonna
Yeah.
who are right there that wanna buy it and
I'd be good.
start
What
it."
would you call this? A parent, owner? What would you call yourself?
The because 'cause we'll be like robo betas, like, uh,
Babysitter, like you know,
oh,
but
wait,
am
that's
I
a
an
weird
owner
one.
of the bot? No.
Now we need to read, like, more Asimov and, like, Dixon, the way he described the laws of robots and
Yeah.
how what sentient I don't know. Let it name itself, let it name us, I don't know.
What did you call your new Model Y? What was its name? What
I
is the
haven't
name of it?
given it a name yet. I mean, I
See,
did
you're
take it
shocking me.
delivery on May 4th. I know I called the other one, like, Toothless because it looks like the How to Train Your Dragon, they look like him, the black
Yes.
ones,
Yeah.
but I haven't named it yet. It probably feels like some adopted, neglected child right now.
Or do you feel like
Not that
it
it
needs
feels
to? You got to
anything.
feel it first to tell you what its name is. Okay. Well,
Yeah, yeah, I love
when you're
the
ready to
colors.
announce the name of your Model Y, tweet it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I will, definitely, yeah. I'll
Okay.
let you know. I'll let you know first.
I'm first to know. Yeah.
You're first to
I
know.
can have like a scoop. Is what it's called, a scoop? Yeah.
You get the inside scoop.
I go scoop. I saw somebody do that today. Instead of like news or breaking, they did scoop.
Scoop.
So
I'm
they
gonna use
scoop.
scoop. There, you don't want anyone to think that we copied them. I'll just use scoop. That's funny.
Okay, so if you were to design a robotaxi, a dedicated robotaxi, what
Right.
have you given some thought? And if you were the designer, if you're friends,
So the
what are you
car
thinking?
design or its execution?
The design, how would you
Oh,
how would it function?
talking
How
about, like,
would
on the
be
chassis.
sure?
Um,
You know what I mean? Like
multiple passenger?
yeah, how many?
Um, I think I mean, watching Uber, it's a rarity that I see more than 2 people get in an Uber.
Hmm.
Sometimes you'll get a party of people. So
Hmm.
I think it needs to I don't know if it needs to be that big, but I don't
Hmm.
know, assuming that it's going to be so revolutionary that people just use things like that and don't use normal cars. So I don't know, maybe
You haven't
the
given
van
this
that you're
thought.
talking.
Would they be facing forward? Would they be facing inside? Would they be facing against the outside? You know, the walls, and then you'd have screens everywhere.
Kinda like those, yeah, I've seen different designs. They have had ones where they had some for the Vegas tunnels, like those
Mm.
kind of ones that were on the chassis that look like kind of. I think I think it's gonna face forward. I think it's gonna have to be a layout
Gonna
that
face
people, because you
forward.
need. Well, I
Okay.
think it's gonna have to be a layout that you have to make people feel comfortable with. You still have to keep those bridges for people as much as we
Hmm.
just wanna,
Yeah.
like, flip the ship over and see who swims, like,
Interesting.
you have
Yeah.
to turn it, you still have to have people on board to turn it, you don't wanna lose everybody, so,
Yeah.
I mean, what do we have, the minivans that are running around that are Waymo right now? So, I think that I don't know if it'll be just the Cybertruck that'll work for now, and then or if they'll move to like a van on a cyber chassis, like a
Cyber
wide
van.
cyber
Hmm.
chassis. Yeah, like
Will it be minivan doors, or is it going to be like
it would.
Falcon wings? Is it going to be
Oh
self-presenting
gosh,
doors?
I think the Falcon wings are probably not cheap to make.
No.
I
Yeah.
think, and I'm thinking maybe that design is a lot of
Mm,
vertical integration in-house. So I think if they
mm,
do, not that the doors would be any different, they'd still bring it in-house, but I think it would be a lot easier to do. I don't know. I don't
I
know the
agree with you.
hydraulics on those doors and
Hmm.
everything, so it's easier to
I'm
slide
thinking
them,
there
but
should be a single stamp.
yeah.
And so I actually think it might not have windows. So
Oh,
think about it.
maybe.
It's a cyber pod, all
Uh-huh.
steel, single stamp. Boom. And then
Interesting.
you have videos inside, and of course you can see
Mhm.
outside by the video, the cameras on the outside, they're portraying it to you. So it might look like you're looking at the sky, but it's actually a video.
Right.
And I'm thinking that you're going to be back to back facing up. But yeah, anyways, we'll
That's
see.
interesting. Yeah, supposedly if you don't have the driver's side, you could just do a repeat of the whole back window forward. It would just be one long
Yeah,
curve.
and the only thing is that it needs to have a crumple zone for safety,
Right.
and so it may still look like a car rather than the square box,
Right.
but it'll be like a cyber. Anyways, I
Yeah.
I do absolutely believe it's going to be a single snap. He's
That's
dying to
interesting.
create a single snap. It's going to be cheap. It's got to be
Right.
cheap. It's got to be small. It's going to be a pod. Boom, boom, boom.
Huh. That'd be interesting. I don't know if people would not want windows. I think I would want
Right.
windows, but maybe it would
It's
catch on. I mean,
controversial. People
maybe
don't think
there's
that
could
this.
be a window version where it's just the whole
Yeah.
glass kind of top and then it changes over into
Yeah.
I don't
That
know.
could.
And then if you don't have the regular ways it works, I don't know. Like the bar reinforcements might be different inside of it. So who knows? That is interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's exciting. This would be fun just to have an open discussion with a lot of people about what they think this
How
is
they
going to look like.
describe you. So, what do you think the world's going to look like in 5 years if Tesla succeeds
Hmm.
in all the things that they're talking about? What's going to happen?
Hmm. Well, I think it's going to blow a lot of people's mind. I think there's a lot of, we're having kind of a huge stock dip.
Yeah.
And it's not just Tesla, it's the whole stock market. So, and there's kind of, the recession that's been predicted and that's way overdue. The pandemic kind of reset us. I think I think it's gonna I think it's gonna be surprising. I think people be like, "Wow, like, wow, we've gotta try that." For people who don't know what Tesla is about or electric vehicles, that's gonna be shocking, and they're I think people are gonna rethink about it. Boy, so we'll be at level 5?
Do you think so? So
Um,
you're a believer. FSD's here.
um, yeah, I mean, if I think so. People are like, "Oh, but he promised it then." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, yes, but he didn't know pandemic was gonna come and create a bottleneck for
Mm,
the
mm,
whole world." So,
mhm.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Wonderful. You spent so much time, but if you don't mind, I want to ask some
Yeah,
more Funversation questions to
okay,
kind of, ease us out of
yeah.
missing you some more. All right. So, what talent would you most
Oh,
like to grow and develop? You-
oh boy. So talent. Hmm. I would like to learn to execute
What?
on
You
the
look like you're
scale
very
that
well
Elon does. I'm just
together.
kidding.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I would like to learn to not just dream up and think up things. And I don't know if it's a talent of the ability to actually
Hmm.
execute what I think and want to do. To
Can you
be more
share any of those
decisive.
goals that you might have by the end of this decade that you'd like to execute on, or
Do I
uh,
want to share them? Is that what you
yeah,
asked?
a general
Uh
direction in any way?
Yeah, I do hope to have a few things up and going. Like, I definitely will step and love the starting process of getting the ball rolling, but some people are starters and others are finishers. So I think seeing it through a little bit more. It's just amazing Elon can stay with things. A
Hmm.
lot of people just start it and they sell it off. So that
Sounds
can scare
exciting
me.
for you.
But
So it sounds like you're about to start something new, and you want to make sure you get it done. You're going to
right,
focus on it. All
right.
right. So one of the things I did was I held this Twitter space, I think it was, or some sort of clubhouse call. There's a bunch of people there, and I did a Tesla trivia.
Oh,
You were
fun.
one of the contestants,
Oh,
and
that's right. Yes.
you won.
Yes, I did.
You won that. So you're very impressive because you knew all these trivia questions that I was asking. So I'm going to challenge you one more time. I'm going to put you on the
Okay.
spot. You might
Oh boy. Okay.
might unfortunately not look good because this is a very hard question.
Oh boy.
So you not answering this does not mean anything.
Okay.
I have a feeling you might know the answer. Do you know what Mars Oasis is?
It sounds like a group.
You
Um,
don't know. So you call
Like,
yourself an Elon fan,
oh
and you
boy.
don't know Mars Oasis.
I don't know. I
Mm,
don't recognize it. No.
I've asked this question to many people, and no one knows.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell it, what is it?
So it was his original vision in 2001. And he
Oh,
said, what's going on? Why is there no Mars? Why is NASA not going to Mars?
right.
And he said, okay, he's going to come up with a project called Mars Oasis where he'd like to just shoot a seeds to land in
Oh,
Mars, and then the
right.
growth of a plant in some sort of greenhouse
Right.
video back to Earth would be enough to get everybody super excited.
Wow.
That was his
Yeah.
original idea. And so then he started talking to Russia for rockets
For the ICBMs. Yes, that's a hilarious story.
to
Yeah.
shoot plants to Mars. That was his original idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Russia's like, you want to do what? Like,
Okay, so five quick rapid fire questions. Are
okay.
you Team Kim or are you Team Earl?
Oh my gosh. Rapid. Uh,
Come
oh my
on,
gosh.
pick somebody.
Uh, Team Kim, I want to make Earl mad.
Earl can handle it. I haven't met him yet, so I'm Team Kim. So
Yeah.
until I meet him, I'll decide. Right now, it's Team Kim all the way. She's awesome.
Team
She's
Kim
amazing.
all the way.
So when 12.9 was happening with Adam and all of us were deep in it, were you deep in it? Did you believe in it?
The 12-9, there was signs. I feel like Elon was joking around and doing it, and Adam was seeing things, and I predict my take is I think his daughter was probably born that day, and we thought it was
Whose
Tesla
daughter?
related. Elon's daughter.
Why?
Mhm.
Okay. So, but
Baby
no,
boy.
when 12.9 was happening for stock split, you did not believe it. You were just having fun with it, but you didn't think it was real.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I saw the signs and the stuff and the different numbers, and I felt like
Yeah.
there's definitely things to see. As far as if it had to do with stock split, I really didn't know. I did feel like it was a date that something was there, and I don't know if
Interesting.
Elon
You're
was
the
just
first person
joking
I
with us
heard
or
say that.
what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was deep in it. I loved it. I thought it was all
Yeah.
true.
It
And
was
so I'm
fun.
still in denial. And
Yeah.
I think what actually happened, my explanation is that Adam was
Yeah.
correct. 12.9 was
Adam was
right. He spilled the beans, and then Elon had to pull back because then
oh,
it would
yeah.
have been like an SEC thing where he announced it and people figured it out and it was so obvious, and so he
Dang.
had to pull back. But
Yeah.
your first one that's a very plausible other potential for it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
maybe
But
because
would
he
he
did
be
say
able
the
to
baby was born in
predict?
December. She did.
Yeah, but was it like a cesarean or planned?
No,
And
Grimes had a interview earlier this year. I believe it
yes,
was January, February, maybe even March. I don't remember. I don't know when she had it, but it was put out. And she stated that she didn't mean to bring up the baby. Supposedly, the interview was on location at her house, and there was a baby crying, and it was her daughter. And she was so sick, from what I understand, with baby X that they went with a surrogate for baby Y, her
gotcha.
daughter. And they don't really want the information out there, but she kind of already burst that
She
bubble.
did it.
But
Yeah,
they are not going to put the child in the limelight
yeah.
or in a lot of media. So, which is
Okay,
good. I mean, children need to grow up in a place where they
yeah.
just feel like they can be
No,
themselves.
yeah, she was on the Lex Friedman podcast, and she was talking quite a bit about Baby Y. So
Okay, so baby Y is definitely out there.
it's out there, and she's talking quite a bit. So it's not. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. How many languages can you speak, Kristen?
I can speak English. I was studying Latin. I studied a
What
little bit
about
of Japanese.
Slovakian or whatever?
Yes, I took Spanish. I can speak a little bit of Spanish. I can read Italian and I can read Swedish. Like I
Yeah,
was surprisingly like I think it's because the English language is composed of so many.
yeah.
Like, but not only I really only speak
Does
English.
language come easily to you? Because you got that.
Understanding and seeing different parts of language, yes. When it comes to the auditory part, I
Mhm.
don't know. I think I need to be immersed into it
Yeah.
instead of just like speaking with a teacher or a few people here and there. So I'm more visual spatial based. So I see the like the language symbols, but I don't know if the auditory is my forte. So
Yeah. Okay. When you get rich from Tesla stock, where are you going to retire?
I don't know if I'll ever per se retire. Like I think
Mm.
I want to be one of those people who are still fit in my old age and trying new things. Like I admire these people who take on the coolest things when they're retired from their first job and they start these other things in life. I don't have it as I mean, I love traveling and seeing the world, but I have no desire to like
It's not, yeah, retirement is not even a,
to get
I
a
don't think
recliner
any
and
of us
watch
can retire
TV and
anymore.
I don't know
Yeah.
what people do in retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we'll be doing.
Yeah, yeah, I'll still be doing this. Hopefully still doing a lot of things that are productive. I don't want to lose my productivity in
You
life.
think this
So
is not productive? It is.
no,
It
I
feels
think it's productive. Yes.
no, but you know what I mean. Like people are definitely spending so much time on Twitter, Tesla
Yeah.
community, and it's
Right,
taken
right.
over.
That won't change. Yep. Probably, I mean,
Cool.
most Twitch here.
Well, you've been very generous with your time with me. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much,
you.
Kristen.
Yeah, thank you, Herbert.
I think are you you're about to hit 100,000, right? Where are you now, and when do you think it's going to happen? Before the end of this month, I think.
I'm at 90, 91, 92,000.
You'll probably do it by next month, June.
If Elon
But
likes a tweet or two, maybe faster. I don't know. He's a catalyst. He's the fastest
so
catalyst. So.
everybody already knows you, but yeah, please follow K10. How did you come up with Kristen K10?
So
You explained it before.
when you register, I think they gave me it was Kristen and a bunch of numbers, right? He's
Yes.
Vincent and a bunch of numbers, and everyone's like, it's funny because the numbers behind your name actually mean this in code. It was kind of funny.
What?
I can't remember what it meant. Someone was telling me that. I'm like, oh, that's funny, but they're like, how come? I was getting the questions. How come you don't personalize your handle? And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll do it. And you try to use your name, just
Yeah.
Kristen. Well, you can't use just Kristen, and you can't use K10, and I don't even know what to put it there. And I'm like, okay, what if I just do Kristen and net?
Yeah.
And that was taken. I'm like, how about Kristen net? And I'm like, I'll just flip the 10, Kristen net
Yeah.
10. And like
Yeah.
that worked. And so I used K10 because the name Kristen is one of those names. It sounds like Christy, Christina,
Yes.
Kirsty, like Kirsten, and K10, you can't mess that up.
I love it. Yeah. We all know
Yeah.
you as K10. And it's a really cool name. I love it.
Well, thank you.
It's
Yeah,
so
I have
easy
a few
to.
people that call me that as a nickname in life. So yeah.
That's what I call you all the time. I think I
Yeah,
actually call you more K10 than I do Kristen. And
yeah.
so
I
you
like
okay with
it.
that?
So it works.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah,
Your
that's fine.
nickname. Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much. And if you hopefully you learned something new and had fun. So if you did, please subscribe, like, and also do that with follow Chris K10. And thank you again, Kristen. Really
Yeah,
appreciate your
thank you for
time
having me,
today.
Herbert. It was
Okay.
great. Thanks.
Good night.